So in this video we're going to look at this question: can a PHEV plug-in hybrid 4x4 save you money? If you're not sure what a PHEV is, I've explained it in part 1 of my BYD Shark video series. So let's take a look at this scenario. We're going to look at energy cost only. I'm saying energy as opposed to fuel because that could be electricity, petrol, diesel, etc. I'm not going to look at insurance, servicing, those sort of costs, tyres. This is just about energy use because that's where the difference will be. And there's two types of trips: city trips and touring trips. So I'm assuming here you're going to be using your four-wheel drive for daily driving duties, or maybe you're a tradie who tows, and you also want to go on longer camping trips. Now let's look at our first scenario, which is the city driving, city suburbs. I'm going to go with 6 15-kilometre trips per week and 2 60-kilometre trips per week. So that multiplies out to give us 11,000 kilometres worth of short-range city suburb driving per year. Now let's look at how that works with the Shark PHEV. So I'm going to assume you're going to charge at home only, not use any commercial charges because that would be more expensive, and you're going to use EV mode for all of these trips, which the Shark could do. I'm going to assume that you've got a 30-cent kilowatt hour payment for your electricity charging. It might be less than that if you've got solar. In effect that would be zero, might be more, but let's run with that. One tip there is you can set your PHEV to charge only from, let's say, midnight onwards, take advantage of lower tariffs, etc. And because PHEVs are relatively small batteries, it's not too hard to get them up to 100% overnight, even off a 10 amp. Now, energy use on the Shark, an independent test from Ecotricity has done 80 kilometres out of its battery from 100 to 25%. Multiply it out, that's about 22 kilowatt hour used for a distance of 80 kilometres, which gives us 3.6 kilometres per kilowatt hour, and multiply that out comes about to $900 a year. Now if we look at the ICE vehicle, I'm going to go with $2.10 per litre of diesel, 12 litres to the 100 because it's relatively slow speed, cold starts, etc. On the other hand, you're not going at 100 k's an hour dragging a heavy caravan, so it could be relatively light. $2,700 per year, and that comes out to $1,800 per year, saving again energy alone, or nearly 10,000 over 5 years. So now let's look at the touring side of things. So that's the trips. We're going to look at 1,500 kilometres by 9 trips a year. You might do less, you might do more, who knows. 13,500 kilometres. We're going to start with again with the PHEV. I'm going to go for the petrol price, $2.05. I'm going to assume 10.5 litres per 100, and that's going to give us $3,000 a year in fuel. So where's the electrical part of it, you may ask? Well, there's a couple of points here. Remote charging is expensive, so it's not necessarily going to save you huge amounts of money compared to petrol. It might well do if you can get a free charge, as sometimes you can, or a low cost charge. But I'm allowing in this figure a general reduction in fuel consumption because you might charge your car, and also because generally the hybrid uses less, so that's accounted for. And if we look at the diesel version here, $2.10 a litre, I'm going for 12 litres per 100. Now typically a petrol would use more than the diesel, but I've made this 10.5 and that 12 to account for the fact that this is a hybrid. That brings us to $3,500 a year, and that's $500 per year over 5 years, $2,500. Now, how much that you actually start to save with your hybrid on these trips really comes down to how diligent you are going to be about that battery. If you are really never going to charge the battery manually at all, you can expect, well, some saving, but pretty minimal. If you are going to be really diligent about charging it and making sure that it's always topped up in the slowest and cheapest charges you can find, then your savings will be greater. So you have the potential to save on fuel, on energy costs with a PHEV when you're touring, but only if you put the effort in. Whereas at home, it's not much effort. You come in, you plug it in, and it's good to go next morning. So summary then, a PHEV can save you money for sure, I think. A couple of things. One, you do a pretty large number of short range trips, and for those short range trips you can use EV only. Now the Shark is good at that because you can expect 80-90 kilometres worth of EV only range. The forthcoming Ranger Wildtrak, that's stated, I think, around about Ford is saying 45 kilometres, in practice maybe 30. That is really starting to get quite a short range on EV only, and I think the Shark has a huge advantage. They're going for 80-90. And I'm assuming also that you can charge at home for low or no cost. So for example, you might have larger solar panels, or you can set the car to charge during the night when electricity is cheaper. That is when the savings really start to come in. And then finally, that the buy price and other costs are the same. If you're having to pay $25,000 extra for a PHEV, I cannot see that being economically viable even over 5 years. If the PHEV price is close to, or maybe within 5k of the non-PHEV price, and I think that the Shark will be if it comes out at 60k, it looks very, very good value, then it starts to really make money for you. So the total energy saving, 2,300 per year, or about 11,000 over 5 years, and your mileage might obviously vary, do your own maths there, but I do think if you've got a choice between a PHEV and a non-PHEV at the same price, the PHEV can definitely save you money. How much it will save you will be a function of how diligent you are plugging it in, and we've already seen this. The Camrys have shifted for taxi and Uber drivers completely from petrol to hybrid because it made sense for them in terms of run cost. Even when the Camry cost $3,000 or $4,000 extra, those drivers got it back. Maybe that math works out for you as well. Hope you found this video useful. Any questions, please drop them in the comments.